Hi, this is Erin from Blossy Bee. Welcome to my channel. The plan for this video is to continue working with the amazing January 2026 collection from Resin Molds Box. In the previous video, I unboxed all of the molds and made some beautiful pieces in eco casting compounds. I'm excited to make some of the pieces again using epoxy resin. Just for fun, how many finished pieces do you think I end up with? 7? 10? 25 plus? Let me know. This subscription box came with 7 unique molds, and in the first video I made this gorgeous little sailboat set. In the second I made this tray and the set of little vases, and then I also made the beautiful embossed flowers and pearls jar with lid, and of course my favourite mould so far, which was the little geometric pot. And I'm so excited now in this video to make the octopus dish with lid and the Perpetual calendar. I'm starting off with the octopus dish and lid, and look how detailed that is. It's just beautiful. I'm going to be using these Starry Night inks. They are a colorant. They say on them they're for UV resin, but I am assuming you can use them for any type of resin. I just bought them off Temu. I think they're about $8 for the set of 5. I'm giving the mould a little spray of isopropyl alcohol, and then just making sure that that's covering all of the interior of the mould. I've mixed up some beautiful crystal clear River Art resin deep pour. It's a 2-to-1 epoxy, and I'm hoping that this will give me just the most gorgeous clear resin with this magical colorant in it. So because I haven't used this colorant before, I'm just going to be checking it out and having a play. And as soon as I squirt the first little part in, I can see that it's got this almost ethereal look, like an aurora powder, and it's just gorgeous. So it's not really providing a lot of colour. You would not really say there's any opacity to it, but it is tinting it with this beautiful shimmering almost looks like that gorgeous oil slick, you know, with all the rainbow colours in it. So I'm just going to mix that in thoroughly, and I'm going to use a little bit of both of the colours that I've chosen. It's a purple colour and a teeny little bit of the gold colour as well. I'll mix those together and hopefully it will turn out really pretty. I've ended up with 3 pots of resin, just with different gradients of the colours that I'm using, just to try and get a little bit of variance when I pour the resin. I'm not expecting it to marble in a normal visual way, but I'm hoping that we do get to see some of the different aspects of the colours. So I'm just going to pour in a little bit of each of them, one after the other, and fill up the moulds. And I'm making extra sure with this octopus that I'm getting resin into all of the highly detailed parts. And if my hand was working properly whilst I'm recovering from hand surgery, I'm having to do things differently. But if it had been working properly, normally, I probably would have taken some chrome powder and brush that over the octopus to make it stand out. And I'd like to do that in the future, actually. I think that would look really beautiful. But for now, we're going a more delicate, subtle way, and the way that this is looking so far, it's glorious. So I've got high hopes. This resin is a 24-hour cure on average, and I'm going to just gently go around the edges to try and eliminate the possibility of any bubbles in any of the little nooks and crannies, and I'd really like this to turn out as perfect as possible, because I'm really not able to do any sanding or anything much like that at the moment. So I'm spending a little bit longer than normal trying to get it right. First time. Next, I'm going to start on the Perpetual calendar, which is a 4-part tree-shaped mould and set, and each of those parts, or the 3 of them, are little organiser holders as well. So I'm going through picking out 4 colours that I think will be really complementary. I think I started going down the mermaid colours path, but in the end I chose a blend of sort of violets and pinks and pale purples. So this is the set of 24 beautiful pearlescent mica powders from Solid Solutions, and they are giving one of my lucky subscribers their own box delivered anywhere in Australia, and we're going to be drawing that on the 30th of January, and the video where that is going to be, the entry for it is coming up very soon, over the next couple of days, so keep your eye out for that. So these are the colours I've chosen, and I'm just going to divide my resin up into little pots which have got the amount that I've weighed for each of the sections. And again, I'm using the Riverant resin, and I'm going to be working from the base up. I'm popping a little bit of isopropyl alcohol into the cup before I add the pigment, and then just blending that, and then I pour in the resin. And the reason I do that is to hopefully reduce the amount of unmixed pigment, and to try and get it all very smooth and even textured. Now, some of these pieces are incredibly difficult to get air out of around the top, and I did actually find it a very frustrating mould to work with. So if you do purchase this mould for yourself, just be aware. So you can see through the silicone there the large gaps where there is air, and it took me forever to try and manipulate the mould and the resin and squeeze it and move it, and I'd get one side done and then the other side would be worse, and just a heads up that it is not an easy mould to use from that perspective. It's just the shape of it and the way the top sort of comes over in that lip, and yes, it's a giant air bubble trap. If you would like to purchase any of these moulds for yourself, the amazing thing about Resin Molds Box as a company is that they not only offer these subscription boxes where you get a big kit of moulds and often additional pieces every month or every few months, depending on what you would prefer, but they also sell the individual moulds on their site. And so on the screen, I'm showing you, this is the Octopus mould, and then this is the Perpetual tree mould. They don't always have the same name on the website as they do in the little description sheet that comes in the kit. So just be aware of that if you're searching for it. It might not be exactly the same title, but they are fantastic ways of getting these moulds for yourself. So if you don't want to buy an entire kit, then you can get individual moulds, and I think that's a really good service. And Ella often has some great specials, and offers free shipping over certain amounts and things like that. So it's well worth checking out. And I do have a discount code for you, which is BlossyB. And if you apply that at checkout, you get an extra little discount off. I am an affiliate with Resin Molds Box, which means that if you are kind enough to use my code when shopping with them, I get a little bit of money set aside that I can use in the future to purchase more molds and products to show you. Anyway, just finishing up this now. I did have a little bit of resin left over, and I used that in a couple of smaller molds, but we'll get fast forwarding straight through to the demolding, because just watching those air bubbles is making me stressed. It really was not a fun mould to work with from that perspective. So fast forwarding, let's get to the demolding. Okay, so 24 hours later, this is what we've got. So I did pour the additional resin into these little turtle tortoise molds. I'm not sure which they are. And I've also got some little mini butterflies, and these have turned out so pretty. These are perfect for turning into little fridge magnets, or just having as little miniature kitty animals on your windowsill or something like that. They always turn out beautifully, and I love having a selection of those and the butterflies. I'm going to attempt to demold the base of the Perpetual calendar tree first, and I'm really happy with how that came out. The colour is intense, and as you can see, it has all of the names of the month around it. And then we start on the ones where I was really having issues with the air bubbles, so I'm just sort of hopeful. So you can see that the base is quite a decent sized little storage container, so you could put paper clips or Tipex, or do people still use Tipex? Yeah, little things like that in there, and they just get smaller as they go up. And I almost can't believe that there are no bubbles. So all of that persistence paid off, but oh, the struggle was real. Okay, we're on to our third little piece now. As my hand heals, I'm able to use everything but sort of my thumb to start to do things again, and it just takes a while, but I can usually get there. I'm still getting my lovely son to help demold quite a few things. And we do have a bubble on that one. Oh, anyway, it's on the bottom, so it's not something that you would see if you're using it, but still, I wish I'd got all of them. Okay, and then the top. So it was interesting getting this mould in the January box, because it does, of course, look like a Christmas tree, and with the star on top. And I had been thinking about perhaps pouring silicone into the star and blocking that part off so it just was a tree. I didn't get around to it for this video, but that is something that you could do. It's very similar to how I attempted to modify the tray mould in the previous video. So, Okay, now on to the Octopus little pot and lid, and I really do hope that the colours are as magical as they looked when I was pouring it in. So I'm really hoping for a sort of an ethereal, really delicate look, and I am so happy with this. It's an interesting little pot. It has some texture around the outside, and it's a really good size. It's the type of pot you could easily have on your dressing table and pop scrunchies in, or hair clips, or your jewellery. You could do that really easily. And I'm totally in love with the lid. It is gorgeous, very sculptural, and this beautiful luminescent colour is just sparkling all the way through. I'm really happy with that. I think that it's a very elegant pot. Okay, I am now going to make the rose and pearl jar again, this time in resin, and I've got a whole lot of things that I'm going to use to make a mixture in different cups, which I'm going to then pour in a marbling fashion. So I want to have white for pearls and the pale pink for the flowers, and I want it all to be super sparkly. So I'm using these beautiful two pinks. One of them is cherry blossom and the other is sweet pea. So I love the name of both of those. And then I'm also going to be using the white, which is a crystal white, and I'm hoping that these will blend together beautifully and almost look like we've got little rose petals embedded in the resin. That's my plan. Whether I can carry that out or not remains to be seen. So I'm mixing each of the mica powders with isopropyl alcohol and going ahead and making up little pots of all of the glitters and pigments. I'm going to add a little amount of Elmer's school glue to each of the pots, and that will help thicken the resin and ensure that the glitters, for example, don't drop. And also it helps with the different colours and different mixtures remaining a little bit more separate. So I did forget momentarily that I was going to do the glue and sort of started pouring in, but then luckily remembered and was able to just use that as the little nice liquidy piece that would go in around the rim of each of them. And I am also doing, I forgot to mention, that gorgeous little pot. I'm calling it the waffle pot now because that's what the outside of it looks like to me. It looks like a beautiful waffle pattern, and I'm guessing it's going to be either a matte mould or the pattern is going to be a little bit too complex to be a shiny finished item, but I just want to find out. So I thought it wouldn't hurt to make both at once, and we'll just see what we come up with. So I'm just layering in, no rhyme or reason, just a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I'm not necessarily pouring it all evenly in the middle. Sometimes I pour towards the edge, but I am trying to pour in a similar order in the lid just to get started. So I'm really hoping that these layers can be a little bit distinct but also blend together beautifully, and I hope I've chosen the right colours to show off that gorgeous embossed surface. With the extra resin I did make this little duck, so I'm excited to see how this turned out. And I do have my lovely son to my side, patiently waiting. So I'm just handing things off and knowing they'll come back demolded. I wish I could have that all the time. Do any of you wish we could have minions? Like little helper minions. That'd be lovely sometimes, wouldn't it? Oh my goodness, I just am in love. Look at this lid. It is so pretty and it is exactly what I was hoping. So it almost looks like dried rose petals or something from a distance. It's just beautiful and loving all the colours working together as well. Now it's time to do an exchange, and look, I've got a beautiful little pink and glittery duck, and it is just gorgeous. I'm really happy with this combination of colours, but I'm most excited to see what it looks like in the actual jar. So here we are. Oh, it is just beautiful. So it has done exactly what I hoped. There is separation between the colours. The lid fits beautifully, by the way. And I've got some sort of diagonal or, gently moving down different changes of colour and texture and glitter, and it looks wonderful. And here's our little waffle pot. Now, I suspected this could be the case. It is gorgeous. However, it is definitely more matte than gloss. I'm not confident in saying it is matte because it's really the little ridges that form the waffle pattern that are stopping you seeing all of the shine. But I love the inside of it. But yes, I've gone back to the big jar. That is just gorgeous. And, me being me, now I just want to do it all again. I'm going to do the 3 pots from this subscription box again because I want to see what the octopus looks like in the pure white, and then I want to make another coloured little jar because I can't help myself. I just think they're so cute. And then I want to make a marbled version of the rose and pearl jar. So I'm using Solidcrete from Solid Solutions. This is an eco casting compound. It's a 3:1 ratio, and without any colorant, it is absolutely pure white. And I do like to have a white version of everything just for reference for me, so I know what they look like. And it also means that I can use them in the future when I'm able to colour them. Now, I've added in some of that beautiful pearlescent mica powder from Solid Solutions here in the colour Purple Iris. And so I've mixed that into the powder. Then I'll measure out the correct grams of water and then add the powder into the water. It is much easier for me to do it that way than in reverse. If you pour the water into the powder, it can be a little bit difficult to stir at the beginning, whereas if you do it this way, you get this lovely, smooth slurry quite quickly. So this is going to be another little waffle pot, and I'm hoping it'll come out in a sort of a lavender colour, and excited to see that. And now I'm going to make up a part white, part purple iris combination, so I can go ahead and alternate those colours into the pearl and roses jar. and hopefully get a really pretty marbling effect. Unfortunately, when I was demolding these, and when I say I was, my son was on my behalf, I didn't video it, but here are the pieces. Now, by now, these have cured for nearly 3 days, and I wanted to show you how I'm sealing them. And because of the amount of texture, particularly on the waffle jar and the exterior of the rose and pearl main part of the jar, I needed to think about something other than wax, because wax would get in definitely to the nooks and crannies, never ever come out again. I have recently trialed a liquid beeswax sealer from Bunnings in Australia, and I loved that, but I wanted to see if I could go even finer, and I've discovered this spray. So this is Cromlin Ornamental Sealer, and it's designed to very quickly and easily seal and protect clay pots, ornaments, things like that. So they say it's an environmentally friendly formula for excellent water stain, mould and algae resistance, and you can use it on garden pots, bird baths, statues, brickwork, outdoor furniture, terracotta clay, reconstituted stone, natural stone, bricks, concrete and render. So I thought, yes, it should be fine for our eco casting compound. And the directions are very simple. You just need to have a completely dry surface. Of course, you need to protect the background because you're going to be spraying, and you just hold the nozzle about 300 millimeters away from the surface and then apply a complete wetting coat. And if you do get any drips or anything, you just wipe with a damp cloth. But I found it was just really easy to use my gloved hands and smooth it on and make sure it was in everywhere, combined with the paintbrush that you see. And in this way I was able to get both the inside of the pots done and all of those really detailed outside surfaces. And then you just need to allow it to dry before reapplying, and I did do 2 coats for all of this, and then it just says to dry for 48 hours and then it's done. And it is a water cleanup, which was fantastic, and the cost was only about $13 Australian from Bunnings, which was excellent for such a big bottle. And so far I'm really happy to say I'm loving it. So I've now feel like I've built up a little bit of an arsenal of waxing and sealing products to have to hand, and that will help me when I range from really smooth surfaces and able to use beeswax to just a little bit of texture using a liquid beeswax. And now I feel I can do really complex surfaces with this liquid spray. So I'm really happy that I've been able to buy and try this, and as I said, I'm loving it so far. I loved the moulds for these 3 pieces in particular. You can probably tell that. So in total, I did end up making a few more off screen, but I'll run you through. So here is the gorgeous resin jar, the pearls and roses. This is the one that we did in that purple iris and white, and then I did this gorgeous green and white. And so I ended up with 5 stunning coloured jars and lids one of them in resin. Plus, I've got the white only version as well. So, yes, 6 of these. It's not a problem, is it? And then with the gorgeous octopus jar. In this video, of course, I made the beautiful ethereal resin jar. Then the purple and white marbled jar in eco casting powder, and then the green and white one, which I love. So in total, including the white eco casting powder version I made 4 of these octopus jars with lids, and I think they're so beautiful. Then, of course, I made in resin the Perpetual calendar tree, which I'm showing you here. And then, of course, my just totally addictive little mould, what I'm calling the waffle pot now. I did go a little bit crazy with this one, and I made 10 coloured pots plus the original white only version, all in eco casting powder, and then I made the resin version, so 12 of these in total. In my previous video, I made these gorgeous 4 little vase sets. I just did these in the white eco casting, and sort of behind the scenes I was loving the lavender and white a lot, so I made a little lavender and white set. I have glued the tops onto the bases, and here they are with some beautiful purple hebe from my garden. And Ella also sent in this box a little light kit, and so I just had a little play around with that here. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate your company. I'd love to hear which were your favourite in the comments. Maybe you had a favourite colour that I ended up using with the eco casting, and I'm very happy to recommend these, the jar moulds in particular, and the little vases. I think are an amazing addition to any resin artist's collection, and all of the links, including discount codes, will be in the description box below. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.